Welcome to my channel. In today's video, we're diving deep into an insightful analysis of Tesla's stock. Please note, the narration you're about to hear is generated by artificial intelligence. While I can understand and read English, I am not yet fluent enough to confidently present my analysis verbally on a YouTube channel. For this reason, I've entrusted the reading of this text to AI. I hope you find the following breakdown informative and valuable. Tesla. Why the hardware bottleneck makes the stock a sell. For quite some time now, investors in Tesla, Inc. shares have grown accustomed to what often feels like a constant roller coaster ride. The reasons behind the stock's dramatic surges or sharp declines increasingly seem to stem not from the company's official quarterly reports, or its actual successes and failures in the core business, but rather from attention-grabbing headlines. We've seen shareholders vote on CEO Elon Musk's compensation package, his often controversial political statements, his major social media purchases, and the various social media scandals he might be involved in. In this highly charged atmosphere, it often appears that these events exert a far greater impact on Tesla's stock prices than fundamental metrics like the number of vehicles produced or the company's profit margins. Tesla's stock prices, in many ways, have become hostage to this kind of short-term drama and information noise. However, from a long-term perspective, all of this is simply background noise, mere details that are largely irrelevant to the core fundamental drivers. The primary, fundamental reason why Tesla's market capitalization is still valued at an astounding $1 trillion lies much, much deeper than these daily headlines. That reason, at its very core, is the dream. It's the ambitious vision of a future where an entire fleet of autonomous robotaxis and an army of advanced humanoid robots will fundamentally transform our civilization as we know it. The exceptionally high market capitalization of Tesla's stock strongly suggests that investors, deep down, continue to believe wholeheartedly in this dream, and equally, in Elon Musk's genius and his ability to actually make this incredibly ambitious vision a reality. And this is precisely where the main paradox and the critical oversight lie. The market, in its current focus, seems to be concentrating on the wrong problem, a problem that, while seemingly prominent, isn't the most important one. While investors are busy arguing about politics, analyzing tweets, and debating compensation packages, they are overlooking a far more real, fundamental, and indeed, foundational risk to Tesla's ultimate success. The true problem isn't politics, and it's not even a question of Elon Musk's undeniable genius. The real challenge, the real question we need to ask ourselves, is whether the very laws of physics and the current, evolving level of technology will actually allow this grand dream to be fully realized in a practical and economically viable way. In this article, I will deliberately avoid evaluating Tesla's current financial health or delving into the latest political news related to Elon Musk. Instead, I will attempt to evaluate the most crucial element, the dream of the future itself. Tesla's current business, a reality check. To truly understand whether Tesla's current stock valuation is genuinely justified by its present-day operations, we must first dissect the company's existing business into its core constituent parts. Tesla's automotive division was, without a doubt, a revolutionary pioneer in the mass production of electric vehicles, EVs. However, as of today, this segment has largely evolved into a mature business operating within an increasingly saturated and highly competitive environment. The profit margins of electric vehicle manufacturers are currently experiencing a significant decline, and unfortunately, Tesla's profits in this segment are following suit. For instance, in 2023, the company's profits amounted to approximately $15 billion, but in 2024, they saw a sharp drop to $7.1 billion. The prevailing trend clearly indicates that profits in this automotive segment are likely to continue their downward trajectory. The initial dream that Tesla electric cars would completely replace all other cars in the future has now largely faded, replaced by the reality of intense competition from established automakers and new EV players alike. Therefore, it's unrealistic to expect any massive business expansion or exponential growth specifically within this segment going forward. If we apply a conditional average P/E ratio for the US market, typically around 30 units, then Tesla's capitalization, based on its current automotive indicators alone, would likely not exceed $250 minus $300 billion. Moving on to the energy business, known as Tesla Energy, this division is indeed experiencing rapid growth and holds significant value. However, its overall contribution to Tesla's total profits remains relatively modest compared to the automotive segment. Furthermore, this sector faces enormous competition from established giants in the energy and battery storage industries, such as CATL. As a direct result of this breakdown, it becomes apparent that Tesla's current, existing business operations, spanning both its automotive and energy divisions, can realistically justify only about 1/3 of its current trillion-dollar market capitalization. The remaining 2/3 of that massive market cap is, in essence, the price of dreams. This significant premium is what investors are willingly paying, driven by their deep-seated belief that Tesla will be the very first company to successfully create a completely new, revolutionary market, the market for autonomous humanoid robots. Two types of AI, why a robot's brain is not ChatGPT. One of the most fundamental mistakes many investors make when evaluating Tesla's AI ambitions is to mistakenly assume that all artificial intelligence is fundamentally the same. In reality, the specific type of AI that Tesla is diligently working to create is radically different from the large language models and generative AI systems being developed by companies like Google, with Gemini, or OpenAI, with ChatGPT. Gemini and ChatGPT are primarily text-based AIs. Their core function involves analyzing vast amounts of text data, reading news articles, books, and countless other written materials. You could, in a metaphorical sense, compare this type of AI to our own cerebral cortex, the part of the human brain responsible for higher-level thinking, language, and complex reasoning. These powerful text-based AIs require immense computational resources, necessitating the operation of huge data centers to function effectively. Tesla, on the other hand, is entirely focused on a distinct and fundamentally different type of AI. This particular AI can be more accurately compared to the cerebellum in the human brain. The world in which this AI operates is not a digital realm of text and data, but rather the incredibly complex, unpredictable, and chaotic domain of physical reality. Its paramount task is to continuously create a highly detailed, three-dimensional model of the surrounding world every single millisecond. This involves meticulously outlining every millimeter of a curb nearby, precisely tracking every centimeter of a distant car's movement, and constantly updating its perception of the environment. Beyond real-time perception, this AI also needs to remember its previously learned routes, accurately navigate through various materials it interacts with, and understand the physical properties of objects in its environment. And here's the crucial point: this type of AI also requires an incredibly powerful, integrated data center right inside its own head to operate successfully. Consider the example of AWACS aircraft, which are designed to scan vast expanses of airspace. In addition to their advanced radar systems, these aircraft house a very powerful, specialized computer system internally, making such an aircraft extremely expensive. From my understanding, a Tesla bot would similarly require an immensely large and powerful computer, perhaps one comparable in computational power and complexity to a small data center, to effectively manage and process the constant stream of real-world sensory data it needs. Now, just imagine the Optimus robot attempting to operate with a giant, humming backpack the size of a small house, crammed with hundreds of servers and demanding megawatts of energy to function. This scenario is simply physically and economically impossible for a mobile, humanoid robot designed for practical use. I believe the core bottleneck at this very moment is the challenge of creating a truly fully fledged, highly functional robot that can genuinely and seamlessly interact with the complex outside world. This involves solving a problem that, from a technological standpoint, is currently unsolvable: how to compress the immense processing power and performance equivalent of a data center into a compact, efficiently cooled, and remarkably energy-efficient chip, all while maintaining a reasonable and commercially viable price point. Hardware barrier: when Moore's law meets physics. Theoretically speaking, it is indeed possible to envision and even design a Tesla bot that could function as described. However, the practical implementation of such a sophisticated robot is currently severely hampered by the limited performance and exorbitant price of modern computer chips. This is where the laws of physics come into play, potentially presenting a significant barrier to the rapid advancement we've grown accustomed to in computing. For example, if we cast our minds back through the history of computing, the transition from 486 processors to Pentium processors represented a truly quantum leap in performance. To realize the full potential of the Tesla bot, it arguably needs a leap in computational capability that is comparable in magnitude to what occurred during that transformative period. However, the critical problem is that modern chip manufacturers are already pushing the boundaries, mastering incredibly advanced technologies like 2-nanometer fabrication. To put this into perspective, the diameter of a single silicon atom is approximately 0.2 nanometers. This means that the intricate structures within modern chips are already approaching a thickness of mere 10 to 15 atoms. According to the fundamental laws of physics, it is simply impossible to create 0.1 nanometer chips if the base thickness of an atom itself is 0.2 nanometers. You cannot, by definition, make a transistor smaller than an individual atom. Therefore, the vast potential for further miniaturization, which has driven chip performance for decades, is now practically exhausted. Similarly, the very design of transistors themselves and the overall chip architecture have already undergone extensive optimization. Decades ago, transistors were designed in a relatively flat, 2D configuration. However, modern transistors are now ingeniously created using complex 3D architectures. The GAAFET, gate-all-around, chip architecture, for instance, where the gate literally wraps around the channel on all four sides, represents an ingenious and highly advanced solution. But even such groundbreaking solutions can only deliver performance gains typically measured in tens of percent, rather than the truly exponential 10 to 20 times performance improvements that were characteristic of earlier evolutions, such as the leaps seen with Pentium processors. Of course, this does not imply that further progress in chip technology is entirely impossible. However, the undeniable problem is that the growth in raw chip performance is currently facing significant limitations. The physical reduction in the size of transistors has effectively reached its fundamental limit, and the only remaining battlefield for achieving truly multiple performance gains lies within the very architecture of the processor itself. But such a fundamental evolution and redesign can inherently take a very long time to materialize and be widely implemented. Competition and opportunities, the waiting game. I do believe that Tesla will eventually be able to create the type of AI that performs the function of the cerebellum, that is, an AI capable of seamlessly interacting with the physical world, in the not-too-distant future. Many investors might interpret this eventual achievement as a compelling reason to confidently buy shares in the company. However, there is also a significant potential challenge here. It is quite likely that the development of the AI and its accompanying software will proceed at a much faster pace than the necessary advancements in hardware and the production of the advanced chips it requires. This disparity in development speed potentially grants Tesla valuable time to continuously improve and refine its AI. By the time the absolutely essential, high-performance chips finally become available and cost-effective, Tesla might already have a highly sophisticated AI ready, enabling them to begin manufacturing and deploying robots almost immediately. But there's a flip side to this waiting game. While Tesla patiently waits for these crucial chips to be fully developed and mass-produced, its competitors will also have ample time to advance their own research and development. This means they could potentially catch up with Tesla in terms of developing similar cerebellum-like AI capabilities. There's also another important perspective to consider in this analysis. Throughout this article, I've described a hypothetical robot that possesses the full capability to interact seamlessly and intelligently with the complex physical world. In other words, I've intentionally set a very high bar for Tesla's potential achievement. However, it's certainly within the realm of possibility that the company might succeed in creating a robot with more limited functionality initially. Even such a robot, despite its limitations, could still prove to be a groundbreaking product and find significant demand among buyers for specific applications. This possibility should not be entirely dismissed. Robots, a bet on the too-distant future. The essential progress in chip architecture that Tesla undeniably needs will happen eventually. Technology always advances, but the fundamental question that every investor must ask themselves is, when? When will these crucial advancements truly materialize in a commercially viable form? It may very well take many, many years before AI, in the form of a cerebellum, that is, AI, capable of real-time physical interaction, gains sufficient memory and raw performance to be integrated into a compact, affordable robot. Until that point is reached, the ambitious Optimus project will regrettably remain an incredibly expensive research and development (R&D) endeavor, consuming significant resources, rather than evolving into a profit-generating product for Tesla. However, when we consider that a substantial two-thirds of Tesla's current capitalization is essentially priced as a dream, it becomes clear that investors are, in effect, pricing in a successful solution to these incredibly fundamental technological problems as if they will be definitively solved within just the next few years. This represents an optimistic, perhaps overly optimistic, timeline. I genuinely believe that Elon Musk is a true technical and managerial genius of our time, someone who is consistently ahead of his era. But ironically, it is precisely this quality, his being so far ahead of his time, that paradoxically creates significant risk for current investors. Musk's visionary idea of a robot that can fully and seamlessly interact with the complex world around it is, indeed, far ahead of its time. The underlying technological base, particularly in chip manufacturing and compact computational power, is simply not yet ready to fully implement this ambitious idea on a mass scale. And I believe this fundamental technological gap is the primary reason why Tesla continues to develop its Tesla bot, yet seems unable to fully complete the project and bring it to widespread commercial viability. In light of all the points discussed above, I firmly believe that Tesla shares currently carry an unjustifiably high risk. This risk is directly associated with the substantial, temporary gap that exists between the grand vision, the dreams, and the desires of investors, and the actual, tangible technological reality that exists today. A rational and prudent strategy for investors operating under such conditions, where the core dream may not come true anytime soon, is to seriously consider reducing their positions in Tesla shares. Significant interest in buying Tesla stock will likely only return when we begin to see real, tangible catalysts signaling a definitive narrowing of this crucial technological gap. Until that occurs, Tesla's trillion-dollar valuation continues to represent a profound act of faith and hope, rather than being the direct result of a sound, fundamental financial analysis based on current realities. If you found this analysis insightful, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Your support means a lot. As for the narration, I genuinely believe that as language translation and voice synthesis technologies continue to evolve, I will eventually be able to narrate my videos myself, perhaps with the assistance of real-time translation tools. This is my hope for the future of this channel, allowing for an even more direct connection with you, my audience.